Well, howdy again, YouTube. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. I thought I'd do a new video. As you know, Unky Joe's Playhouse is in a constant state of flux. We moved our everyday Plex and MB server. We moved it between the Dell R710, and we then moved it over to the Ryzen 5 1600. We put the Ryzen 5 1600 in the Thermaltake case, etc., etc. Now, originally that Thermaltake case was supposed to be for my Unraid server. But as I've been playing with other programs and moving stuff around, Unraid kind of got put on the back shelf. Well, today, I want to bring my Unraid system back up, get it up and running. The problem is that in that Thermaltake case right now, right there on the floor, are the guts for my MB and Plex server. So I need to take the guts out of it and put different guts in and rebuild the Unraid server from scratch. And I need to put a couple of video cards in that Unraid server so that we can play around with it moving forward. So if you're in the mood for that kind of video, buckle up. We're getting ready to get started right now. So I'm here at the workbench and I'm dragging out that Thermaltake case. Now, this has been the home for MB and Plex for a few weeks. You know, I like to move stuff around here at Unky Joe's Playhouse. But I've got other plans for my MB and Plex server, and they'll be coming up in another video. So what I wanted to do today was pull the components out of this Thermaltake case and go ahead and get my Unraid server back up and running. Because I haven't been playing around with Unraid for, a better part of a month or two. The only problem is I misplaced my Unraid USB key. I think I know where it is, and hopefully we'll find it before the video ends because we're going to need it. So that required me disassembling this unit, getting the Ryzen 5 motherboard, CPU, and RAM out of here, and instead going back into this unit with the Gigabyte D33H or something like that. It's a good board. It's an i7. I have an i7 processor for it, and frankly, it tends to work better with Unraid, in my experience, than the Ryzen 5 motherboard. If you remember my Ryzen 5 Unraid build, I was having some trouble getting the IOMMU groups to work correctly under Unraid, and to have the devices isolated in their own IOMMU groups and not have Unraid lock up on me. So I just think personally, just in my personal experience, that Unraid is better suited to run on an Intel board than it is with the AMD boards I currently have. Now, I'm not saying that you can't run Unraid on AMD, but it's just been my experience with that Ryzen 5 motherboard I had, the Ryzen 5 1600, that Unraid was better suited to that Gigabyte board. I had less trouble with it. So the plan today is to get this thing disassembled, get the parts installed that I need to build my Unraid backup with, get drives installed, and then to install some video cards as well. Now, the video card I just took out is a GTX 950 that I kind of engineered the fans for. As you know, the fans went out on that card. That card I've had 3 or 4 years. Used to be my daily driver. But the fans went out on it. I could not find the fans anywhere other than a slow boat from China, and I didn't want to wait for China. So I got fans that would fit it and kind of jury-rigged it and made it work. So let's get this thing disassembled, and then I will show you me assembling the component parts that need to go into it, and then we'll get Unraid back up and running, get the video cards configured, and hopefully all will be well with the world. Okay, good. So that's a good sign. It is up and running. So, I don't know about my hard drive LED because I don't have any hard drives in it. But, yeah. Looks like that part is working. So, that's good. Good. So it does power up and it does have onboard video, which is what I was looking for. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish plugging in hard drive connector. So So I've populated this bad boy with 3 2-terabyte drives. I'll eventually end up having 4 in there, but just to get it up and running. So I did this last night, found my Unraid key, got it up and running. So what I want to do today is add 2 video cards to this so that we'll have them to play around with. So previously, if I was over here under devices, the problem I had with the Ryzen board was the IOMMU groups weren't very stable, didn't work very well on that Ryzen unit, and I was constantly having lockups. So rather than dealing with that, I've decided to go back with this i7 gigabyte motherboard. So this is the GAZ 77DS3H with a i7 3770 CPU. So what I'm going to do now is, right now I don't have my, if I come over here to settings, and I believe it's under VM Manager, I have my, let's see here, I want to go to Advanced View. Right here, I have my IOMMU groups PCI ACS override set to disabled. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put those video cards in there, and then we're going to see if they have their own IOMMU group. If they don't, then we'll deal with that. So let me go over and get the video cards installed, and then we'll come back. All right, so I've got the unit powered off. And I'm going to flip the power switch on the bottom. So what I want to do is go ahead. I've got 2 slots on here. I've got a 16x slot here, and I have an 8x slot here. So what we're going to try and do is get them to work with 2 different video cards. Now, one thing I've got to do first, though, is I've got to disconnect that system fan. We're going to have to rejigger that. So let me get the wire tie cut off of it. And the other thing we're going to have to do is figure out which slot we're going to have to open for the video card. So we'll probably have to take this one off, at least. So now keep in mind I'm going to have the capability to run 3 video cards on this, because I have the onboard i7. The onboard has the HD 4 something video controller built onto this. So I'm going to put the 650 OC 2 gig card into the 16X slot. We'll start with that. Now this one does require power, so we'll also have to put a power cable in there. There we go. Now I'm just going to use the onboard video to fire up the machine and get display. I've made it the primary graphics adapter in the BIOS, so we should be good there. We'll get our screws in. Now I am going to need to probably take out this slot cover as well. Now the reason I'm putting these 2 video cards in here is I want to be able to pass through these video cards to a virtual machine in Unraid. Now this is the 640, and this is a 640 OC 2 gig NVIDIA card. So this ought to be interesting. Pop that in here. Screw it in place. Now this thing was consuming about 60 watts at idle. 60 to 70 watts at idle. I'll be interested to see how many watts it consumes now that the video cards are plugged into it. So one thing I really like about Unraid is the fact that you can pass through video fairly simply. Now, the other thing I have to do is plug in the power. The problem is that I don't have, is that a 6-pin? Yeah, it's a 6-pin. I lied. Folks can be deceiving. So we'll get that power cable plugged in there. So it's still kind of a mess inside, but you know, hey, this should work. So I'm gonna head, yeah, let's don't forget to plug our cooling fan back in. Now, you know, when I was younger, I used to be able to eyeball these things. Put them in there. Oh, I did it this time too. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and we'll route this fan cable through these little wingdings here on the video card. That'll keep it out of the way. And this will be a little placeholder for it. Okay, so now we should be able to flip this over and fire this bad boy back up. And so right now it's consuming about 80 watts of power. Let's see if she boots. Yep, she booted right up. And now we'll go into the Unraid. And then what I'll do is go back over to my machine on my desk, and we'll see if these IOMMU groups are configured properly. And if not, we'll futz around with them on there. Alright, so I've got the 2 video cards in. So let's go over to Tools and System Devices, and let's see if they are on their own IOMMU group. And we will see that they are not. Here is the Intel graphics controller. There it is. So, yeah, the problem is the IOMMU group. So, let's come over here to Settings, VM Manager, and we're going to go ahead and set this to Downstream on the PCIe ACS override. Go ahead and apply, and then we're going to have to reboot. Yeah, and it's even warning us. Done on there. So we'll come over here to the main, and we'll go ahead and reboot Alright, so we've rebooted. Let's come back over here to Tools and go to System Devices. Now, it gives us a warning. We have the PCI Express ACS override setting enabled, and it does not reflect the way IOMMU would naturally group devices. Now, I have before had stability issues when I tried to do this on the Ryzen board, the Ryzen 5 1600, the Gaming 3 motherboard. I would get periodic lockups. So let's see now if it's separated out our video controllers. I can see one, the Intel Corporation Xeon video controller is here, right here. IOMMU Group 2. Then here is an NVIDIA GK107 GeForce GTX 650, and the audio device is an IOMMU Group 13. We've got our network card, our PCI bridge, and then our IOMMU Group 16 for the NVIDIA GeForce GT 640. So I would say we have some success. Now, whether that's going to be stable in Unraid, we'll only be able to tell that when we start doing our virtual machines, which I'm not ready to do yet. I just want to get this back up and running. I wanted to get the hard drives in there. You can see we've even got an error on one of the drives. So I'll look that up later, and I still have to add a third 2 terabyte hard drive or a fourth 2 terabyte hard drive in here. And that should give us 6 gig of storage. But as you can see, I don't have much else running on here. I just have the drive set up. I don't have a cache drive. I really don't. I don't feel that I'm going to need it. We'll see. I may throw a cache drive in there just for the just to be able to have something to run the virtual machines on. That's a little bit faster than spinning Rust. Again, this is more of a let's play with Unraid kind of machine than it is going to be a unit that I actually store data on. You know, I'll use it for testing and archival purposes. So, but you can see I've still got to get some plugins installed on it. I don't even remember what all I had installed on here before. Okay, so I have all the community apps and everything, but I need to update. So, it's up and running. I've got the IOMMU groups sorted. I'm going to go ahead and, boy, yeah, these plugins are all out of date. I'm going to go ahead, let's just try this. Let's update all plugins. Might as well do it live while I got you here, right? And excuse the lighting. I only have the light from the monitor shining on my face, so this is a nighttime video. Well, let's put it this way. The curtains are closed, so alright, so it said it updated them. So let's see. Okay, so it looks like they're all up to date now. Yep, all the plugins are up to date. And I think I'm going to need to go into Docker. We're going to need to, fix that. We've also got the VM manager. You'll see that the path does not exist for VMs, etc. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll have to come back and clean all this up. So, but I just wanted you to see that we've got it up and running. I also need to pull another 2 terabyte hard drive and add it. But other than that, it appears to be up and running. So I'm going to leave this thing up and running for a day or two, maybe 24 hours, and then we'll start reconfiguring it. I'll do that in another video, and we'll start creating our virtual machines. So luckily I found my Unraid USB key, so I didn't have to buy another one. And it's working fine, as you saw. We've got Unraid set up and ready to go, back in that Thermaltake case, back with the Gigabyte GAZ77DH DS3H with the i7-3770 processors, which gives us, in effect, 3 video cards in there, with the addition of the GT650 and the GT640. Both of those are 2 gig cards. Now the 650 did require the 6-pin power adapter, which we had, and the 640 did not require it. So now that we've got the video cards back in and we've got Unraid set back up, the last thing I need to do is add one more 2 terabyte drive to that drive array. And that'll give us an Unraid system that we can actually play with and experiment with as I'd planned earlier. So now for the next video, you're going to see me move some stuff back around and move our Plex and MB server one more time, because I think I've finalized exactly how I want that Plex and MB server to operate and with what components. So you've got that video to look for. Anyway, we thank you for coming and seeing this video. We hope you found it entertaining and informative. As always, please give us a thumbs up down below. And if you're so inclined, we take PayPal or we take Patreon. And I want a special shout out to all my Patreon supporters. You are definitely a loyal bunch. You've made it possible. I'm trying to accumulate more funds because I've got a special project coming up. So all of you out there that have donated on Patreon over the past few months, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you're going to make it possible to do a video that's coming up here very soon. You'll have to come back and see us again for that one. Please don't forget to tell your friends and neighbors about us. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Smash the like button and leave your comments in the comments section. And please don't forget, we'll see you on the other side.